Hi, I'm Angified. I started Angified Presents.
We share the love of music.
It has been medicine and therapy. Nothing else worked.
It has saved many of us. With mental health, we need to open our eyes.
Hurt people hurt people.
We ask that you listen, comprehend, and relate with your ears.
Form that heart of unity and one.
We share on this stage.
Statistics, feelings.
And ourselves.
We stand with the belief to be you, to be heard, and to be original.
We all may be different, with opinions and beliefs.
At the end of the day, we are all brothers and sisters.
We are family.
We ask that you join us in a magical journey with artists from around the world. Open your minds. Let in the love.
And listen with your hearts.
We all want a better tomorrow. Be one.
Communicate and look out for one another. And then, and only then, will you find the world.
We will find peace in all the world.
You'll find the world. And you will find in this giant world. He was among us in every boy and girl. Many have been broken, red hearts turn black. Love will melt the ice and turn it back, and you will find the world. You will find the world. You will find the world. And when you find a place called home, where everyone is free to roam, a whole new world, a better place for our children's futures at stake. And you'll find, with music in your soul, laughter in your hearts, together we can grow a better place, with love in our soul. And you will find, together we can save it all. And you will find a place called home, where
cover digital audio workstations and music tools. We explore theory, gear at 82. How to arrange, compose, and the art of arranging. Taking a look at AI and how the times have changed. On a PC or a Mac and even with a mobile device, we'll be talking about it all every Thursday night. From software to plugins and synths that entice. Dive deep into tech and let creativity take flight. Talkin IT. We're talking IT. Come and join in and have some fun. It's highly educational with a lot to learn. From bedroom producers to seasoned pros, we're breaking it down so knowledge grows. Whether you're a DJ or a beat making wizard, we got the tips and tricks to make your sound sizzle. Mixing and mastering, that's our jam. With the tutorials and tips on how much rap. Get the best quality from your setup and gear. Tune in every week and lend us your ear. We're talking IT. Come and join in and have some fun. It's highly educational with a lot to learn. We're talking IT. We're talking IT. Every Thursday night on Angified.
Oh, it's that time again.
We're back once again on a Thursday.
I'm front, you're back.
Okay, but you're over there.
We got all sides covered.
And I'm over here. Good stuff.
Oh,
We got some good stuff tonight.
Yes, we have a new topic and all freshy channels. This is the first time we're covering this, so the channels are all fresh. And some interesting stuff. I have wanted to make a music video since like 1983 when MTV just kicked in the idea that like all songs need a good video to them. And
now, which video led you to that conclusion? Was there one video that jumps to mind when you think about like the MTV of that time?
well, you can't ignore Video Killed the Radio Star because that one started it all.
The first.
But thinking of the different types of music videos, and that's kind of some of what we're going to talk about, especially going in. You know, you've got your concert videos, your performance videos, band in a garage. Some videos will tell like that story, like Thriller.
The cinematic way, yeah.
Yeah, and when you think about it, making videos is so much fun. You don't have to do like a 2-hour movie, and you kind of get to tell a quick short story tied to a good song. I think for any aspiring movie directors, videographers, this is something that they should all study, practice, and it's a good way to get started in a directing career, because some of the best directors out there cut their teeth on music videos in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. And again, when things were just getting started, it was all in its infancy at the time. So everyone jumping in.
Yeah. And it was cool back then that you had like a platform like MTV and eventually VH1 where, videos got spotlighted the way that they did. Kind of sad to see that has disappeared. Thank you, MTV. But now you have a different kind of platform and a different approach to making videos, and I feel like all serious artists and musicians should adapt to their videos and their YouTube channels and how they promote themselves. I think it's important for a band or an artist to brand and present themselves visually.
I agree.
People aren't just listening for the music anymore. They want all senses to come at them.
Exactly. And it's good to get to know the band, to be able to recognize them if you saw them playing somewhere. You saw them filing into a bar to play. You'd want to be like, oh, there goes, you want to recognize them. You don't want to be like, oh, who are these guys.
And when you see some of those like performance videos, you might be more inclined to want to go see the band.
Yeah.
Imagine you see Van Halen Panama, and it's like, yes, I want to go to that concert.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Got to get some of that energy in there.
Yeah, so that's why it might be good to consider different approaches to the kind of video you're going to do. If you are a performing band and you want to entice more audiences into your club or your arena, then make some videos of you performing, because that's gonna bring in the crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's the thing is, good camera work, good lighting, all that kind of stuff makes a difference when you're shooting a video like that. So there's definitely many elements that we got to get into.
Gled's leading right in to the first couple. Yeah, let's take a look and see what we've got lined up. And you are right about all of that. To the Shh cave. Let's bring up our page. Here we go. Now, to start off, I figured this is a good video for starting off. You got to have a plan. You got to have a strategy. Ooh, and I want to look that way.
There it is.
That's where I need that sound effect.
Nice. The whoosh.
But to start off, Royal Z Productions gives us a nice little introduction into how to plan for a music video. So that way you don't just go in, willy-nilly. And
Camera blazing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that can work, but especially if this is like your first video, you want to learn, and you're going to make mistakes, which is also another one of the videos that we're going to be covering in here. And that first time you go in, a little bit of a plan goes a long way to getting the kinds of results that you're going to want to get.
Yeah. And also you want to make sure that there's a lot of you in the video, as far as, what makes this band or this project, what makes it you, as opposed to just another video,
Yeah,
that makes personalize.
That makes it even more important when you're talking music videos, because this isn't like normal storytelling where you're shooting scenes and you're writing dialogue and people are acting. I mean, sometimes that's a part of a music video, but it's a small part of a music video. And a lot of these tips we're going to hear tonight, they are more centered towards music video production, but they do apply to general video work.
Nice.
A lot of these tips work in both directions here. So we're going to start with planning, and then we're going to look at some different ideas, suggestions on music video approaches. Like I said, performance videos, some storytelling approaches, slideshows. I mean, there's a lot of options out there for different types of music videos you can make, from novice to expert. And there will be some gear talking and mentioning of lighting. For me, multiple cameras. I actually got 2 videos here to kind of drill in the don't just go shooting with one camera if you can avoid it. Better to overshoot and edit than to not get the footage and have to go back and shoot again.
Right. And once you have multiple angles of the same shot, they're automatically easy to sync because they're the same shot.
And that's why I this particular one I liked and I wanted to include, because the tips here on how to calibrate and deal with, you can't hit record at the same time on every camera unless you've got really good gear. So some of these tips are really useful. There's a few I hadn't even thought of. You know, I've done a lot of this stuff over the years, but you're always learning new tricks.
Mm-hmm.
So
Gotta love new tricks.
Jack's gonna give us some good tips on dealing with multi-cameras, and then film it yourself. Awesome channel. This is one of the freshies that the tips in here, and this one's more geared towards the pro. So we're going to be talking a little bit more of the high-end gear, lenses, lighting, some of the things that will really make your video look polished.
Right. Sometimes even something silly, just, you know, not silly, but, you know, just something simple like a reflector in a certain place can really change everything. You know, so you've got some of the right things, but you're not getting enough light from a certain side. You can just, you know, get something white and put it, you know, get something bright shining at it and put it over there.
And she's going to bring up some good points about lighting and how it's a little different when you have to light from multiple cameras, because when you're doing one camera, you know what the lighting's supposed to be. But when you're doing multiple cameras, this light can step on this light, and you've got to make decisions there. So it's good that we're going to plan.
Exactly.
And can't ignore the potential mistakes. YC Imaging, awesome advice on things to avoid when you're shooting, what you're going to deal with when you're editing, how to make the workflow easier. A lot of times the video editor is not the one doing the shooting, and it's good to understand what the workflow is going to require.
And the overall vision, you know, of the project.
Yep. And then, you know, we're going to include a little AI into this because this is another choice that you have nowadays. We're seeing more and more AI music videos. Some of them are phenomenal. Those who really put in that extra creativity can go a long way with just a little AI work. You know, if you don't have a big budget, this is a good consideration for those who are on the cheap, on the budget. And Teo prompts. This kid's got some talent with the prompting and the approach, the tools that he uses to put it all together. Very creative.
Nice.
And then to top it all off, just to reinforce the purpose of your music video, and you want to make that unforgettable music video. You want that one that sticks out decades later. Michael Jackson's Thriller. That would be the one that, like, the most polished video of the 80s that I can think of that was a good combination of storytelling. You know, it's a short movie basically with a song in the middle of it,
with blockbuster effects.
Yeah, and dancing zombies.
Who can forget the dancing zombies?
The Walking Dead was missing out. They should have brought Thriller into it.
That would have been good. Yeah.
So first, let's take a look at how to plan for putting together a music video and the things you want to consider as you get ready to shoot, you know, maybe your first music video. It gets easier. It gets easier along the way.
You could try different styles as you go through, sure.
Yeah, and with good planning, it should get easier. It might not necessarily get cheaper. It might not get the complications as you prepare more and you're more diligent. Might get a little more advanced, but it's worth it for the end result.
Definitely.
So our first Freshie channel, at Royal Z Production, over on YouTube, helping to take your videography game to the next level. Love it.
Right.
Been wanting to go to the next level for decades, you know. I was a photographer back in the 90s, but I was always eyeing that video camera and would have loved to have shifted to that back then,
Mhm.
but this was pre-digital, and
Right.
video equipment and especially video lenses were a lot more expensive. Now, sky's the limit.
Yeah, the tools have come, become accessible to everybody at this point.
Yeah. Now it's really more your creativity that you need to overcome, and with some good planning and some creativity, you can make your music video.
Yep. And there's always the danger, like when somebody first learns how to use PowerPoint, for example, like everything is a cut scene and everything is a this and every, like, there's certain things you want to avoid overdoing also. So it's important to know which things to use just sparingly, like spice, just a little bit here and there, and which things to just lean on heavily because they're the bread and butter of what we're doing.
Yeah, and that's why it is good to practice and do this and reinforce it, because eventually you put just the right amount of spice in. You don't make that stinky face when you taste it.
And that's important. No stinky face.
So let's see how we can prepare for our music video.
Mm-hmm.
The most difficult part of being a music videographer is the creative process. Sometimes it feels like you've ran out of ideas, can't think of a location, storyline isn't making sense. As creatives, we all run into these mental blocks. Today, I'm going to show you guys my music video treatment process. What's up guys, Rosette Production here, and today we're going to be going through my music video treatment process and how I come up with ideas for my music video sets. So when it comes down to writing your ideas on a computer, I personally like to use Google Slides. It's a really easy platform to use. You can just plug and play your text boxes really easily, as well as photos to make a visual treatment. And the other thing too is that it's actually completely free. So if you do have a Gmail account, you have access to Google Slides. So the first thing that I'm going to do in Google Slides is actually make a cover photo. So this is going to be the first page on your treatment. I like to put a background photo, a BTS picture of me shooting, and then I put the artist's name and then the song title of the music video that we're going to be shooting. The second slide is the synopsis. So a synopsis is just basically a brief description of what the treatment is about. So basically just put a small paragraph just explaining to the artist or artist management, again, a brief description of what your treatment is about and what they're about to get into when they get further on to reading your treatment. So the next slide will be a mood board. This is personally what I like to have as my next slide, just because it sets the color palette that I have in mind. To show the artist kind of what kind of colors we're going for throughout the music video. So if we wanted a lot of green vibes, then I'm going to pull screenshots off of Google or off of music videos that I've seen before, and I'll just plug and play them into the mood board section. So for the mood board, I like to have a total of 6 photos. I put 3 on the top and 3 below, and in the middle, I title it mood board, and then I put a brief description, kind of just explaining the color palettes for each location. So again, just setting the color palette and color tones so the artist can get a good vision of what you're trying to go for as a director. So the next few slides will break down the locations. So I like to put location 1, 2, 3, etc. Or even if there's maybe just 1 or 2 locations, I like to break everything down in great detail. So these aren't brief descriptions like the synopsis section or the mood board. These you just really want to go into detail, but not technical detail like getting into your shot list, which we'll go over a little later on in this video. But you just want to get into just better detail to give the artist a good vision of the shots that you want to achieve. So I'll leave a couple screenshots here of my location breakdown. So they're pretty big paragraphs. I'd say anywhere from like 50 to 100 words, and I just explain to the artist or the artist management or whoever is viewing the treatment, what exactly we are going for each location. And again, I just explained it in very great detail so they can again envision what I envision for this music video. So finally, we have the video reference slide. So for this slide, I like to put a maximum of 3 video references in this slide. Anything more than that, and the artist just probably won't check out every single one of the video references that you're posting on the slide. But what I'll do is actually place the actual video reference link into the video reference slide so the artist can simply copy and paste it into their web browser and they can quickly view the video that I am kind of referencing for their treatment. So this doesn't have to be YouTube videos and other music videos. This can be Instagram videos. Let's say you're shooting a music video that's in black and white and you want to pull inspo off of a clothing brand video that you saw that you thought was super dope off of Instagram. So you would actually take that Instagram link, you go and find the video off Instagram, that clothing brand promo, and you just place that clothing brand promo link into the video reference slide so the artist can go and check out your video reference. So super easy. This again just breaks things down further and again just shows the artist that you're just taking it to the next level where you're actually, pulling references from different videos, but not copying other people, but just giving the artist a really good visual representation of your vision for their music video. And lastly, what I like to do is tag the bottom of the treatment with your watermark. So at the bottom of all my treatments, I put treatment created by Rosette Production. Super simple. I just like to put the tag on the bottom, looks professional. So once your treatment is created, now it's time to create a detailed shot list. So this is something that only you will have access to. It's not really necessary to send to the artist because a lot of it will get very technical due to the camera terminology. So for a shot list, I like to break it down into each location. So let's say location 1 consists of 4 B-roll shots that I want to get and 4 performance scenes that I want to get. I will actually break it down into artist sitting on the edge of the bed doing a performance scene at 24 FPS with Tokina 11 to 20 millimeter wide angle lens, and then the next performance scene will be in 24 FPS again, but with a 35 millimeter lens with in-body image stabilization turned off so we can get more of a raw effect. And then the third performance scene will be another wide angle shot with the 11 to 20 millimeter lens, and we'll shoot this one in 4K 60 FPS, so we have the option to use it as slow-mo. And after I have my performance scenes done for the first location or a said location, then I will start breaking down my B-roll shots. So for my B-roll shots, if we do have props, I'm going to actually get into detail. Prop 1 will be used on this location or at this location shooting in 150 FPS. The artist will be doing this action with the prop and so on and so forth. So I'll just basically break down what props we're going to be using, what frame rates we're going to be shooting the B-roll in. That's pretty much it. I'll basically do that for each and every one of my locations that I have for the music video set and just break it down into really great detail where you can just pull up the document on your phone, which again, I actually use Google Docs to write all my shot lists down just so I have easy access to pull up my phone, check out the shot list, and even just check off each shot as we go through the music video set, just so I don't miss anything. If you want to go off treatment a little bit, that's totally fine. If you feel that there's a shot that isn't on your shot list that you want to capture, or maybe you're just feeling a little more creative on set, just go and capture the shot and go back straight into your shot list right after. And again, this just kind of ensures like better productivity. And honestly, a lot of my music videos where I do have a detailed shot list going into it and a very detailed treatment with locations planned out and everything, my editing process is actually a lot quicker and I'm a lot more productive just because I know exactly what I'm shooting and what I'm getting into for the edit. I know that if there's a storyline, I know exactly how to follow it with my B-roll shots and what performance scenes to put where. And that's kind of the whole reason why you should be implementing treatments and shot lists for your music videos, is because you're going to have less re-edits. You're going to be editing less. You're going to be honestly even on set for less time just because you're banging these performance scenes and B-roll shots out just so quick, and you're probably going to run through your set a lot quicker. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope this video shed some light on my creative process on the back end of planning a music video. Again, this will just make your music videos run a lot more smoother and the editing process will be a lot quicker. And honestly, you just look so much more professional when you're on set and even before you pull up to set. And one last thing that I want to mention, if you guys are interested in learning more about music videos, if you're just kind of getting into it, maybe you just started shooting, you guys should definitely check out my online music video guide. It's an ebook, 59-page ebook that basically goes over camera settings for music videos, gear recommendations, lens recommendations, the do's and don'ts for music videos, how to shoot performance scenes, B-roll, basically all that good stuff. It's all compact into a 59-page ebook, and I will leave it in the hover card up here in the description of this video as well as in the comment section of this video. So with all that being said, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.
Some awesome advice from Royals Production there.
Yes, indeed.
And you know, if you want more advice and details like that from him, he's got a more full video, you know, complete filmmaker's guide on his YouTube channel. It's a little bit longer. Would have loved to include that, but this was a nice condensed synopsis of how to script and prepare for your music video. He does it in such a good professional way. You saw the details that he got into.
And it reminds me of storyboarding also, just, you know, the whole idea of getting a movie out or getting a story out or whatever, just trying to go down those steps to get all of it down, locked in.
Yeah, and for those who aren't used to like storyboarding or script writing, his advice to start with Google Slides or like, you know, a PowerPoint type of scenario, and fill in the gaps in the information. Don't get overly technical as you're just kind of setting up your scenes like he advised. You know, just get into the descriptions to start, and the technical details will fill themselves out as you go along.
Kind of painting in broad strokes, almost like doing an outline at the beginning of writing a book or whatever. You know, you're just trying to get things, you know, get the structure, the skeletal structure of what's going to happen first, and then you can drill down to the detail on each one.
Yeah, and if you lay out your scenes like that, you'll get a better idea of how you should shoot and what you should shoot with. Like he mentioned, using a wide angle for this particular scene and one with the motion jitter off for this particular scene to get a different effect. You'll look on his channel, he's got different videos on how to shoot with a you know, a mobile device, gimbal movements,
the higher frame rate so you can do slow-mo. I mean, that was a great one too.
These are all important considerations as you decide how you're going to film your different scenes.
Absolutely.
And hopefully in the end, when you're done doing all these different things, you find a way to consistently mesh them together so that the scenes transition between each other. You're going to see in some of the tips in these later videos here about consistency and the importance of keeping things looking like they're shot from the same camera, they're shot with the same color, and if there is inconsistency, it's not to say it doesn't work, but viewers, the eye tends to like notice when things don't match.
And one of the story videos back from, you know, MTV that always jumps to mind is a Tom Petty one. You Got Lucky, Babe, maybe.
Yeah.
With like the whole desert thing, and like they go over, they find the instruments, and they you know get him out from under the dust covers, and like just in time to like start the guitar solo as he fires up the amp, you know, that kind of thing. The whole way that story kind of comes together, and the whole scene, the whole world that it kind of puts together there was very cool and different to me at the time from what you had been seeing in a lot of videos.
Yeah.
I like that.
And again, that was one that kind of had a setup. Like, it didn't just go right into the song. It had a little setup and a little bit of actual filmmaking, then got into the song.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I was just thinking of Cyndi Lauper too. The Girls Just Want to Have Fun video.
Sure.
That's another one that kind of told a story through the song.
Definitely.
So that was at Royal Z Productions. Awesome tips to get us going and get our music video started.
And a lot of it can be things that people hadn't necessarily thought about. If you don't, if you hadn't done this kind of thing before, these are all important considerations. And it's also just kind of a peek into best practices is kind of the way I would look at it. Because if you're starting out, maybe you don't need all of these things to shoot your first video, but by getting into these habits, on your first video, then by the time you're on your third and fourth, you're already in like good habits and well on your way to driving, good habits into good product.
Yeah. And even when you think you thought of everything, there's always going to be some surprises and some things that will come up that you didn't plan for, or you hadn't thought of. Sometimes it'll help you creatively, and sometimes it'll stifle you a little bit.
Exactly.
So our second video is coming from Muse Formation, which I feel like this is partly a music channel with video information.
I like
record producer, music marketing nerd, author, podcast. Wow, you are a renaissance man, Jesse. And for this one, I really wanted to include this one as a follow-up, because after you plan out like what you're looking for, it's good to consider the different types of music videos that are out there, and the ones that like really work and really get people's attention. And there's a lot of choices, a lot more than I originally had thought of. So Jesse does a good job of kind of fermenting those music video ideas. So hopefully by the time we're done with this one, we know exactly what type of music video we're going to make.
All right, let's check it out.
Musicians are always complaining that making music videos is so much work. And when I tell them that they need to make a music video for every single release, I met with this exasperated groan of, and there's so much effort to be put into making a music video. But whether you're just trying to get a video done, or make a visualizer, or a lyric video, there are a few models that you can always follow that are crowd pleasers that are really simple to make. So by the end of this video, you'll have at least a few video ideas that you can make that'll easily get a ton of views. Now, if you've been watching videos on this channel, you've probably heard me going on and on about how you need to make tons of music videos. And if you've not heard me talk about that, I highly recommend you watch my video on releasing music videos, since videos are eventful ways to get attention to you and your music, and one of the most effective ways to get new fans. But since one of the conversations we've been having is about minimum viable videos, where when your song comes out, if you're going to be promoting it a lot, we at least need a simple video with just a little bit of motion to keep the broken brains navigating over from the attention span killing apps, be it TikTok, Reels, or Shorts, or even the text apps that kill it, like Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky. Now, some of you are still in pre-COVID music video mindset, where everything needs to be polished and a big budget, like some 1990s Guns N' Roses video with some horrible 9-minute song that costs like $20 million to make. That's not the case anymore. You can make a great music video for your song at some point, but when you first drop it, you can put out a minimum viable video, meaning a video that's really easy to make. You make it a few hours. And if the song starts to take off, well, then invest in a better music video to up the consumption and shareability of it. I often think about Lil Peep's documentary, Everyone's Everything. If you watch it, you'll see he bought a green screen on Amazon and then simply put that up when making videos the second he was done with his songs and just acted them out. Now, not everybody can do things this simply, but it does show you that simple content that goes with the song can go a long way. And yes, I think you should try to make the best music videos possible a lot of the time, but I think it's better to make a video that allows fans to bond with you and keeps their attention spans going than no video at all. So let's talk about a bunch of different music video formats that you can make that always work well to bond with fans and get views. The first idea is based on every musician's favorite emoji to put in my DMs, which is fire. Yeah, it sounds dumb, but the visual of fire is a sight to behold. Ever since the caveman days, people love to watch things burn. I mean, look at Beavis and Butthead. Whether you're singing in front of a fire or just burning something fun, people love fire in a video. It can make for a great visualizer. Just be safe and make sure you do a test run to ensure your camera is adjusted right to capture it. Particularly, this video from Oliver Tree where he did a single where he was just standing in front of some fire, which is probably on a green screen, well, it's really good and well done. It really shows the power of how simple this visual can be to make a song work. The second idea is the photo collage. Now, if you want to get creative, get a Polaroid or an Instax or some other cool camera, and then take photos of you doing things. Maybe raid your closet, put on it some different fits, especially if they'll get everyone horned up. Then simply take your camera film to an area that looks cool and throw the Polaroids down one by one. Then throw on a cool filter or saturate the film over the top of everything you filmed and give it a film grain or some VHS thing, and you're done pretty much. Now, if that's feeling a little art school dorm room for you, I would first implore you to open your mind to art school girls, since most of them are my best friends, but there's another way we can do this. If you simply have a bunch of cool photos of you or your group in your phone, you should assemble some and head over to Neural Frames, the sponsor of this video, who's like a synthesizer for making visuals for your music. I've been playing with Neural Frames, and it's way different, since many other AI tools are kind of like hitting shuffle on a mood, where you type in something and hope for the best. Whereas Neural Frames offers tons of features to make the creation of visuals a fun and creative process, a lot like playing with a synthesizer. So if you have a few images, you can sync Neural Frames to the elements of your song and create seamless transitions. It feels to me more like putting an image in a sampler and then playing with it till you find cool visuals to match your song. This means you can take two cool shots that you have from a shoot or a show and repurpose them numerous ways that keeps viewers engaged. That's why they call it the synthesizer of the visual world. It's super fun to mess around with their tools and watch it change your footage, making visuals you've already used before fresh and exciting to your audience. It's super easy to use their automatic features to generate settings and effects in sync to your song's tempo and make all these visuals your own so it doesn't look like some corny AI art you see on everyone else's account. If you want to check out Neural Frames, head to the description and click on my link for their best offer. Another fun idea that works especially well for multi-instrumentalists or solo artists is to do a split screen of having yourself play all the instruments in the song. This Instagram from Mike Kinsella of American Football and Owen is a great example. People always love the visual of seeing one person playing a lot of instruments in one song. If you could split the screen in creative ways in your video editing software, it's a super easy way to make great content that fans enjoy. Then, one of the easiest videos that has made countless songs go viral is simply play the song in the studio and vibe to it. That's what's kicked off so many viral moments like Tommy Richmond's $1 Million Baby, which we covered in one of my members' videos and newsletters. Post Malone had one too. Simply vibe hard in front of some cool looking equipment and show off the lab. This has also worked great for artists like Isaiah, who we also covered on the newsletter. Now, the cooler looking the studio, the more it definitely helps, but if you show how much you feel the song, it helps others feel the song. Hell, even if your friend has a sick studio and you can sneak in and just vibe to your song over the speakers, this can often do the trick. There's also dancing where you aren't supposed to. Truly one of the ultimate easy videos to make is to just dance where you're not supposed to. Now, before you all take this too far, please don't go all eco-terrorist or pick up a piece of fine art and dance on top of it, or hang off a cliff, or do anything stupid. But even something as simple as the table at Easter works, even if it brings grandma to an early death, or a video like, YTF is this motherfucker dancing on top of Raising Cane's? And the answer is, your boy's the manager and let you on the roof. Use your imagination and resources. If you have, let's say, the longest escalator in a city, and then you could cut a little rug on it while one friend stands on the bottom and the other friend stands on the top to give you some space, well, that's a great visual. Let's say you have access to stand next to the Buc-ee's beaver mascot. Well, I don't see why you shouldn't work on them, since this always runs up the views. The last one is especially good for lyric videos, where you just make a real-life visual of the lyrics. The classic example is Bob Dylan's Subterranean Homesick Blues, or the INXS remake of it called Mediate. You could always get creative in the real world, write your lyrics down and film them, and put them in sequence doing something creative, whether it's lighting up jelly beans or whatever else will be fun for your audience to watch with your lyrics. Oh yeah, I have one last one. There's always fun with the green screen. You can always think of something cool to do with a green screen and have fun in front of it. There are so many ways to get creative with this. Like I said at the top, all you need to do is buy a $14 sheet and do something fun in front of it. Make sure it's lit well enough and then get creative. with what's going to be on the screen. So here's the thing. While you just learned how to make an easy music video, if you want to learn how to do the hard stuff and do it well, you got to watch the video on the screen now on how major label artists think about making different pieces of content, which is linked on the screen or in the description. So make sure you watch that next if you
level up.
I will be watching that after. Jesse knows. Jesse knows. And I know what song he was talking about with Guns N' Roses. He's not wrong. They really overspent on that video, and it goes to show you that you don't have to spend $20 million to make an interesting video. Some of those suggestions are really creative, really simple to implement, and I'm glad that he kind of finished off mentioning the lyric videos and the examples he showed with the Bob Dylan and In Excess. Those were wildly creative at their time before there were lyric videos. Now, lyric videos, I think, even if you're going to shoot a performance video or one of the other alternatives, you should still make a lyric video, because some people just prefer going to the lyric videos these days.
Oh yeah, they want to understand. You know, they want to more deeply connect with the music by understanding the words, which they might not always pick up just by listening.
Yeah, and you know, that brings in the whole synchronization kind of thing, where, you know, with lyric videos, it's really important to focus on synchronization, because the impact of the words as you're hearing them and things being synchronized, very effective. When you're dealing with these visuals and the things that he's suggesting doing, how you synchronize to the groove of the music is just as important.
Yeah, for sure.
And that neural link, that software looks fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look at that for sure.
Yeah, that looks like it can have lots of different multiple uses.
Was it neural frames? Is that what it's called?
Neural frames, yep.
Nice.
Yeah, so we got a little software suggestion in there with good tips. Awesome job, Jesse Cannon. And
nice.
That's at Moose Formation. It's like musical information, except it's video.
I like
it. And that should get some food for thought into artists on, take any of these ideas, bust out the phone or a camera, and think about your options there. That Bucky the Beaver is going to be happy if you twerk on him.
There you go. Over to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah. Now, if you're lucky enough to have more than one camera, and nowadays you do. Most people I know have more than one phone. I mean, they might not necessarily use all the phones as phones, but those old phones can make great second, third, fourth cameras if you set them up, mount them, get one of those little tripods that you can clamp them in, and if you set up a couple of them, you can shoot one scene with different perspectives and give yourselves a lot more options.
Yep.
I really like in that last example when he was talking about, like, you know, the same musician playing those are some of my favorite videos on
exactly. And the split screens are not that hard to do either. Like, you're just filming it and, you know, playing the track in your headphones or whatever while you're playing along with it, so you can get that all synchronized later. Drop them all in. I like the creativity on the last one they showed too, where the guy was playing keyboard on the floor in the bottom of the video. Yeah. It's like keeping it all in one frame, so they didn't have to do any editing at all. That was cool.
I want to be that guy that can play everything.
Exactly.
So now we're going to be looking at multi-camera suggestions. We've got two for this one. The first one is Jack Cole at It's Jack Cole. Hey, it is.
Right.
And I teach video editors how to get clients. Okay, now we're talking. That's part of the challenge of being a video editor.
Sure.
And here he's going to give some great tips on when you are dealing with multiple cameras, things to consider, you know, when you are hitting record, how to calibrate and get consistency across the different cameras. And again, I thought I had learned all of this over the years. Some fresh tips in here. I mean, you're never too young to learn.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing, is things change over time too. And, you know, the whole industry has changed, like you were saying, back from when you were doing film cameras, you know, and the whole thing all switched to digital. That was one of the biggest shifts. But with AI, that's causing another monumental shift. That's, you know, not everyone wants to use AI, but everyone should be aware of when AI is being used in the content they're consuming.
Yeah, and with today's technology, you know, a lot of the things that were more difficult, different cameras have different color and look. You know, with some of today's tools, the color correction has gotten a lot better, getting things to look consistent. That suggestion in the first video, or the second one, to use like retro effects to get that VHS look, you know, things like that can help to bring consistency across the different cameras.
Sure. And have it feel more authentic to a time period too. If you're doing something that is set in a time period, you know, in the story that you're doing in the video, you know, it should look like the equipment of that time period was what was used to make it. So
it should look like the summer of '69 if you're making that video.
Exactly. That's the plan.
All right. Let's see what Jack has to say when you've got more than one camera.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. That was overkill. Either way, what's going on, people? My name is Jack. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. Today we're talking about how to shoot videos with multiple camera angles, and it is actually very, very, very simple. That's why I think somewhere in the title it should say the basics, because this is definitely the basics. Very, very simple indeed. So what you want is 2 cameras. In this particular sense, I have my main camera, my Sony a6300, and my iPhone. What's going on, iPhone? What's going on, Sony a6300? And I'm basically going to break it down to you. So you need the 2 cameras. Next, you need a position to sync it by, all right? So if you press record on your main camera, record on your secondary camera, obviously, you know, unless you press it super quick at the same time, they're not going to be, you know, synced. And even then, they might be like a millisecond off or something like that, which, you know, isn't much, but they're not perfectly synced. So what you need to do is you need to find something which is you know, a position that you know that particular thing happens in both videos or both audio tracks, so you can accurately sync it. And the best way to do that is a clap sync. It's just the most efficient. You know, everyone can access it. You know, everybody can just go, boom, clap. All right, this is it. I'm literally in post right now, all right? So this right here is the 2 audio waves. This one right here is my real camera. This one right here is my, what's called, other thing, my iPhone. How did I just forget the name of my phone? And obviously there is the sync. So I can now turn on the webcam. I mean the iPhone. And look at that beautiful melodic sound. Just like that, we've synced it. When you've actually done that clap, when you're actually in the post-production process back on the computer, you can actually you know, identify that kind of little spike in the audio track, which should be relatively obvious. And if it's not, you could just press play and listen to yourself say 3, 2, 1. You know what I mean? And you know, then you sync up both video tracks, and then you can actually, you know, just basically talk to your other one right here and say, what's up, how's it going over there, my iPhone, and hey, what's going on to my main camera. And literally just like that, you have actually started creating videos with multiple camera angles. Now, the next step, I guess, would be to obviously just up the quality. So right here, I do not normally do a multi-camera setup in my normal YouTube videos for the sake that, you know what I mean, it is what it is. My main camera works fine. I'm constantly putting visual representation on the screen. And also, my second camera is only an iPhone, so, you know, nothing against the iPhone videographers. In fact, I do plenty of iPhone videography myself, and literally every single one of my vlogs is done with the bad boy iPhone. But still, I may as well, it's almost just not worth that extra step just to do a second angle with an iPhone like it is right now, right? So instead I just do the one camera. But I've been getting this topic asked if I can do this kind of video for quite some time now, and I guess people want to make videos with multiple camera angles. Now, a perfect format for multiple camera angles for me, and something that I no doubt will introduce in the future, will be maybe a multi-camera setup for my review videos. Now, my review videos, they take place, basically in multiple different kind of areas. Usually I'm sat on my table right here, and it's got a nice seamless white background, and then it cuts between me reviewing the product and then a first person kind of shot of my hands unboxing the product itself. And that's actually done in 2 different takes, obviously, because I can't, I basically don't have, a GoPro on my head or something while I'm shooting the video and then, seeing. But I think in the future, maybe to have an above head camera, like a top down camera, something like that for my review videos could be absolutely awesome. And it obviously would create less friction. I wouldn't have to record kind of the same clip twice where, I'm talking to the camera or talking to the camera here, what's going on, I'm reviewing the product, and then obviously I have to pack it all up and then unbox it again, but from a first person perspective. So that's like a very, very cool way that you could obviously incorporate the two camera angles into a format of videos, which obviously would make it more efficient. So that's what I would do for you guys, is instead of just creating an extra, hassle of trying to basically duplicate your camera angle, do one here, and basically instead of actually having, instead of adding the extra camera angle to any old random video, look for a type of video where it genuinely complements it and even takes away an extra level of work for you, like it would if I was having like a top-down camera on my review videos. And thinking about it, that's how Unbox Therapy does it, and that's how some of the bigger guys in the review unboxing kind of space do it, where they just press record and they've got camera angles from every single direction, so that they do it once, unbox it and review it once, but it's captured from like 5 different angles. In fact, if you want to see way more impressive multi-camera setup than this little iPhone and Sony a6300, go and find a what's it called? I was just saying about it a second ago, an Unbox Therapy studio tour, and you will actually see the way that they do their multi-camera setup. It's absolutely awesome. Very impressive, actually. Seriously, something to think about for the future in terms of, a future studio I might have in a couple years, which is a little bit more technologically advanced than the one I got down here at my little studio in Totnes. But thank you guys for watching the video. I've been Jack Cole. For more videos based around video editing, videography, and how to make money making videos, subscribe for that type of content. Definitely lots of it coming soon. And hopefully you've enjoyed this very, very simple, the basics of having a multi-camera setup. Thank you guys for watching. Take it easy. Have a nice day. And I just said it. Exactly. Take it easy.
You hear that, Glenn? Take it easy.
I do. That is excellent advice, and I do try to take it easy as much as I can.
And that's why with these 2 multicam videos, that's why I wanted to start with this one, because like he said, this is the basic approach, something anybody with 2 cameras can do. Here he had a good combination, a really high-end camera, and those iPhones don't suck. His iPhone looked good. I mean, you're getting 2 to 4K resolution even with the old ones.
Sure. And that's the thing, is the main thing is just being able to sync them, and the clap track or anything of that nature is just perfect for that. Being able to synchronize on a solid signal. It's like starting with tracks. If we want to try to synchronize things, a lot of times we'll just have a count in, a 1, 2, 3, 4, because you can very easily line that up with everything else in the track.
Well, and the clap trap approach is kind of like the movie board kind of approach.
Exactly.
There's
a reason they did that. Yeah.
You're just using it for synchronizing here, but if you did go the next level and get like a clipboard, you can put the camera, the scene, the information on it, so when you're going through all the footage, you know exactly which footage, which camera you're dealing with, and that's good habits to get into if you're going to really take it to that level.
Yeah, and then the scenes putting them together in the end is more like Lego blocks because it's like, oh, 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, 2C, however you have them, labeled out. It makes it very easy to put them together.
That's a great way to do it. You can be my cameraman.
Yeah.
And I like how he gave the use cases for this kind of situation. Like, it's true when you look at a lot of YouTube channels, the front view, that's the go-to and the standard for a lot of the good YouTube channels out there. But I have noticed some of my favorite channels starting to utilize the kind of multi-angle approach. And you notice when he was going to his side to the iPhone, it felt like he's turning and he's talking to you. It feels more personal, and especially with like reviews, unboxing, depending on the types of videos you're shooting on YouTube, the dual camera or more could help to spice things up, as we say in the music world.
Yeah, and you could even, even just as while you're talking, you can have a second character essentially, just by, when you go to talk to the second camera, it's like, oh, what's this guy going to do? When you go to look at it, oh, what's this guy going to do? You get that second camera angle, so you can actually get a whole sidebar essentially. So
and I've noticed that with some channels, that what if music instruments were people video, where the same guy represented like 7 different instruments, and different angles changed his demeanor, and you really felt like you're seeing multiple actors.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like Stevie, Stevie B.
Yep.
He's another one that utilizes that kind of dynamic camera approach.
Another one who did that was Mary Spender. I saw her do a video where she played, drummer and bass player and guitar player, and just was the stereotypical drummer and the stereotypical bass player, but it was all 3 characters in the video put together. It's very well done.
Yeah, and that's what, having these extra camera options can help you to accomplish very effectively.
Very much so. And the synchronization being very important to making that work most easily.
Yeah. The tips there, I wish I had learned that sooner.
Yep.
And I wish that all cameramen that I work with video from followed these rules. It would make synchronizing different cameras so much easier without having to go find the part in the music and try to synchronize them. The clap is so much easier, and you can do it right at the beginning.
Yep. Gotta love it.
That was It's Jack Cole. He's gonna get my videographer on with these kinds of tricks, and to go from a basic approach to something a little more advanced. Again, this applies more to shooting higher end kind of video, but it doesn't hurt to know it for like the music video approach as well. Here we're gonna look at some higher end gear, higher end like setup, and possibly multiple cameramen, which if you can get a couple people to hold some cameras and hold some lights, you really can polish up your video.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes even just having good clamps and a couple of stands can make that work for you too.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to spend a little money on the accessories.
Yep.
So this channel just screamed out at me, at film_it_yourself. I love the idea of enabling people to do these things themselves and not wait for Steven Spielberg to come film your music video. And this is the kind of channel that's going to help you to get started here.
And that was one of the tips from one of the other ones as well, about just making the minimal viable video and just getting something done. And then if it does take off, you can always remake and, up the budget on a remade video.
Yeah. And considering your budget, going back to the first video, when you are doing your planning and things like that, considering your budget is an important thing. I mean, it's okay to say we have no budget, but you got to kind of accept that and make your further considerations based on that.
I mean, it's about asking the important questions first. You know, how many vehicles are we going to blow up in the video? You know, how many buildings are we jumping off in the video? How many helicopter scenes are there? Like, you know, all of those things all add to the bottom line. So you got to make sure you get all those numbers down right.
Are we talking the Matrix?
I mean, it's okay if all those numbers are zero. Like, you know, we're going to have 0 cars blow up. We're going to go off of 0 buildings, and we're going to have 0 helicopter scenes. That's okay. But knowing the answer to those questions,
I'm not ready to make Die Hard yet, but
but knowing what's in the budget, that's the important thing. Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully, after we get these tips, we might be able to make Die Hard.
Oh, yeah. You can always go the what was the Be Kind, Please Rewind, the Jack Black movie, where like they were remaking all of the movies, like just in the shop, you know, as a play almost. You know, you can always go super low budget on these things too.
Hey, it worked for Kevin Smith, so
exactly.
Those who can really do a lot with a little in Hollywood. Hollywood loves a director that doesn't spend a lot of money.
Exactly.
And still makes an entertaining film.
Yes, through innovative work.
Yep. And these are the kinds of tips. Tons of them on this channel. Again, our freshies tonight.
Yeah, I love it.
For me, as a wannabe videographer, these channels gonna help. So, Film It Yourself is going to show us some pros for shooting multicam, how to do multi-camera filmmaking. Like making music videos, just longer form.
Yep. And there's probably a lot of music video in the movies that they shoot.
And there will be discussion of lighting in this one.
Yes.
Oh, I'm just getting ready for my multi-camera shoot. I've got 1, 2, 3, 11 cameras. Do you think that's enough? You're right. I should add more. Hello filmmakers, Ash here, and welcome to Film It Yourself. You're ready to shoot your film, but are you planning to shoot with 1 camera, 2 cameras, or maybe even 10 cameras? Well, if you're not sure if shooting multi-camera is right for you, I've got some great tips on the pros and cons and best practices of doing so. So let's get into it. First up, let's talk about the pros of multicam shooting. The most likely reason you choose to shoot multicam is because it's extremely time efficient. It allows you to get multiple shots all at the same time. Plus, it can cut down on the time it might take to relight for each shot, as multicam lighting requires you to light the scene in a way that works for multiple shots. So, if you've got a limited amount of time to shoot, then it might be the right fit for you. Next on the pros list is that it can also help your actors. By shooting multicam, your talent doesn't have to do the same performance over and over again as they would in a normal single camera shoot. This is especially helpful when it comes to shooting heavily improvised or stunt-related scenes, as the actions and dialogue in the scene might not be repeatable. However, this might not necessarily be right for some actors, as they might need several takes to really get into the emotional space they need to for the scene. So make sure you know what's best for them before choosing this shooting method. Next on the pros list is continuity. By capturing actors' blocking and interaction with props, you can ensure consistent continuity in the editing room. Now, let's move on to the cons of multicam shooting. First up, and most importantly, it can be pretty expensive. Because you need more cameras, equipment, and crew members, the cost of your shoot could go up pretty dramatically. Also, shooting multicam can affect your lighting. Because you're lighting to accommodate both cameras' frames, you might not be able to get your lights as close to your talent as you'd like. Thus, your director of photography might not be able to finesse the lighting as much as they normally would in a single camera shoot. Okay, so now that you know the pros and cons, let's go over some best practices for shooting multicam. First up, let's talk about planning. Once you've decided to shoot multicam, I highly encourage you to storyboard it out. This way, each camera operator knows exactly what shot they should be getting while on set. Next up, let's talk about them cameras. When shooting multicam, you want to make sure the cameras you're shooting on match. So, for example, if you're shooting on a GH5 for the wide shot, make sure the other cameras are also GH5s, or at the very least, other Panasonic cameras. This is because different cameras process colors in different ways, so it can be extremely difficult to match a Panasonic camera to, let's say, a Canon camera when color correcting in post-production. So, making sure all your cameras are, at the very least, the same brand can ensure you don't have an angry color correctionist on your hands. And speaking of matching, you also want to make sure your camera settings match. For post-production purposes, it's crucial that your ISO, shutter speed, frame rate, picture profiles, and white balance match across the board on all cameras, or else you'll have an angry video editor on your hands. Next, communication between the camera operators is key, as they need to be working together to make sure they're not shooting the same shot or getting into each other's shots. Now, if you don't have multiple camera operators, you can still shoot multicam by locking off a wide shot and having your camera op on the second camera with a tighter shot. Also, make sure both cameras don't cross the 180-degree line unless you're planning on doing so intentionally. To learn more about the 180-degree line, you can check out my movie here. Next, when shooting multicam, it's essential to have a video village set up for the director. This way, the director can monitor all the cameras and make sure what they want is being captured by each camera. And finally, let's talk about slating. When shooting multicam, it's important that you slate for both cameras so that they can sync up properly in post-production. You can either achieve this by having both cameras initially frame up to capture the slate, or if reframing the camera is not possible, you can slate individually for each. To learn how to slate like a pro, you can check out my video on slating here. So now that you know the pros and cons of multicam shooting, you'll be shooting efficiently in no time.
Do you think I'll have any trouble matching 18mm footage to digital? Ah, whatever. I'll just fix it in post.
Ash kicks ass.
And I agree with the dog.
Yeah, well, I've been the angry editor, and I've been the angry color correctionist. Like, those points are super important.
Yeah, exactly.
And she went there with the slate. I definitely want to check out her pro tips on slating.
Yeah, the slating was important. The matching the company of the cameras was important too. Going back to what they were doing before, where you had the professional camera and the iPhone, that's very much not matching cameras, but at the same time, you're achieving a certain thing there. So
yeah,
even on a budget, you can do it, but the matching when you're on that level of budget for sure would make a lot of sense.
And in that like dual camera scenario where, like, say you're doing it for a podcast, the lighting and the slight differences in the camera may not be as big of a deal as when you're trying to shoot a feature film.
It can be distracting though if you were sitting there to try to go back and forth between the two, and it's a similar shot, and they're definitely the colors all out of whack. That can
Yeah, and you saw the difference between the Panasonic and the Canon. I mean, the Canon was a little more washed out.
Yeah, and to me, it's not even that one's right or wrong or one's better or worse. It's just different ways that they interpret what they see, and it's important that you understand the differences, and the fact that there is a difference is the important thing to understand, really.
Well, she made a really good point about the film speed and the ISO, the frame rates, the kinds of things that a lot of new videographers and photographers don't always consider. They don't get into f-stops and film speed at the beginning. You kind of slide into that as you get more advanced, and that's the kind of thing that can make those cameras really look different, or kind of calibrate them so that they're closer to each other.
Yep. And again, in the beginning, you might just be, going through the camera and trying all different settings on every shoot so that, they're nowhere near matched, because on this one, you changed the f-stop and you changed this. On that one, you changed the ISO and this, just to try to get the best effect. Whereas this is more about the importance of standardizing across your shoot, or at least understanding why you're not.
If you've got let's say you've got a big band, they want to do a live concert footage video, and you've got to make sure you've got angles on everybody and angle on the whole band, the lighting across the board. And like she mentioned, sometimes you don't get a second shot. So if you're filming Panama for Van Halen and that's a live show, they're not going to stop it in the middle of the song and do it again. You've got to get all your ducks in a row before you go.
And that's, to me, where overshooting or shooting higher density than you need, and also higher frame rate than you need, would be better than not, because then you could always do things like zoom in and still retain quality.
Yeah, especially
like
with today's cameras, when you're getting into 4K and 8K, you can really zoom in and maintain quality. It used to be a pain in the ass till we got into the HD world.
And so now you could just take a GoPro, behind the drummer, taking a shot out at the crowd, and take another GoPro at the very back of the venue pointing at the band, and really capture the entire room, get the sound from the very far back. And later on in post, you can always zoom way in on each of the individual members if you needed to get those individual.
If you got an extra GoPro, pop it on the drummer's head. That'll look cool.
Image stabilization on extreme.
But listening to her tips did make me think of music video approach, especially in that live scenario situation where we've got to get it, and we've got to get it in one take. And her suggestion of if the two cameras, one overshooting from further away where you've got everything in frame, and then one that's got a little closer zoom, and having both makes it a lot easier than, and you do get that benefit of different angles.
Exactly. Different angles are important, because again, that lets your creativity get out there, where you're watching one video, but when you're in the video editing software, you can see yourself jumping from one scene to the other, one shot to the other, one look to the other, to try to get the understanding of what you're trying to shoot.
Yeah. Great tips, Ash. And I like that she separated, the video editors and the post-production from what she was talking about there, directing. You're the director in this case, getting it all set up. It's not always going to be the director who's doing the post editing.
And you might be the one wearing all three of those hats also. So it's important to understand, when I'm wearing this hat, I'm going to be mad at me who's not wearing this hat over there, because they're not making my job easy. So understanding each of those jobs that each of those hats entails makes it easier to try to make the job better for everybody.
Yeah. I think it's good for anybody that's new to it to kind of get their feet wet in all the processes. But at the same time, don't let post editing intimidate you from learning what you need to do in the shooting. Understand what's going to happen afterwards, but don't get too caught up in every step. Soak up what you can, and there are times where it's better to just say, I'm going to pass this along to the right hands to finish it off.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. We're almost ready for Hollywood, Ash. Thank you.
Film it yourself.
Yeah. Film_it_yourself. So we've looked at a lot of these tips and tricks. One thing that they haven't really talked too much about is the potential mistakes that you can make. And when it comes to filming, and especially in filming a music video, you're gonna make some mistakes now and then. Better to learn them this way. YC imaging is gonna help us to possibly avoid some of that. That's at YC Imaging over on YouTube. Oh, his creative journey is all over this channel.
All right.
Oh yeah, he's got some great videos in here for this exact kind of scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And the mistakes he talks about in here, they're important ones to recognize. Could save you a lot of extra time and money, having to go back and do it again.
Yep. And that's where you got to do it right the first time. It's important.
If you can.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare. I honestly hate putting mistakes in the title of videos just because it's art. Obviously, it's no mistake. You can do whatever you want to do. I will more so say that these are things that I've noticed watching a ton of different music videos that take me out of the viewing experience. So pay attention to these things and hopefully it'll make you make better music videos or help you make better music videos. How many times have you watched a music video, you see a really clean wide angle shot, it's a sweeping gimbal shot, then they cut to the close angle shot and you're like, wait, hold up, what just changed? Then you see the wide angle shot again and you're like, why? It's just, continuity. Something so small, something as small as glasses being on in one angle and then glasses not being on in the next angle is very distracting, and it's kind of annoying as a viewer to pick up on. And once I told you, if you didn't notice it, you'll never not notice this. Man, this is something so small, and even I continuously get this wrong to this day. I just shot a music video like 2 months ago. I got to the editing bay and I'm like, dang, I did not notice that he had his fucking hood on in this angle, and then in this angle, he did not have the hood on. And then I'm swapping between these two angles, and I gotta figure out how to make this mesh and not be jarring to the viewer. So I'm cutting in different B-roll shots between the wide and the close of the performance. And it's a hassle. It's a hassle. If you don't notice it, it's definitely something that's jarring. So keep your continuity solid throughout your entire music video. I noticed that when I work with musicians, they all want to show off different things. For instance, I'll have my artist wanna wear this coat in the scene, and then he'll want to wear this coat in the close-up, and I'm like, nah, whatever you do on the wide or whatever you do when we first start this scene in this one specific location, you have to keep it consistent, because I'm gonna go from a wide to a medium to a close or vice versa. And in the editing, it's just gonna look weird. So don't allow your talent to switch up whatever they start on in one particular scene. If you fuck up a shot, fuck it all the way up. If you got a ton of grain in the shot because you had no lighting, you had to jack the ISO way up, add more grain to it, add a vintage overlay to it, add an effect to it, make the mistake look intentional. That's something that I do all the time. Like, I don't even trip on what ISO I get up to. I just focus on capturing the shot, because I know if I fuck it up beyond me being able to pull it back, I'll just add on to that. If I'm shooting a gimbal shot and I get to the editing bay and I realize the gimbal shot is rocky, I'm just gonna add more rock to it. I'm gonna add keyframes to it. I'm gonna add an earthquake effect to it. I'm gonna make it look like I intentionally shot it this way to give it this effect. Capitalize on your mistakes, man, because if you just throw all of your rocky gimbal shots in a music video and don't do this, the viewer's gonna look at it like, dang, this is really horrible gimbal work, or this is really bad lighting, or this is really grainy footage. Make it an aesthetic, lean into it, make it a vintage video if you have to shoot it that way. I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record because I've been saying this a lot lately, but I really just want to iterate it to y'all because this does a lot for you as well as the viewer. You continuing to try new things in your projects is just going to spark more broad ideas. And then once you tried all these different elements of filmmaking and techniques, you'll eventually be able to combine these things into a masterpiece. So what I mean by this is just trying something new. It doesn't have to be something huge. It doesn't have to be you trying to get the artist to jump out of a plane. It could be, okay, well, I always shoot the music video on a gimbal. Let me shoot it on a tripod this time. Or let me try this lighting setup. Or let me try to build this kind of set. Or let me try to use a projector for the music video. Or let me try to use fire for this one. Or let me try to do this one with a story. Or let me try to do this one all slow motion. These are just things that I feel like you should lean into. It keeps it fresh for the viewer. And like I said, once you are able to kind of, put all these things together, it's just gonna make it better for you as a creator because you're gonna be having more fun with it. One resource that's been helping me a ton with trying new things is Skillshare. Now, aside from the sponsorship, it's actually a class on here that's been helping me a lot. And it's really interesting because beyond just the information in it, it's parts of it that are almost like a thesis of previous music videos, which is very interesting to look into and take techniques and nostalgic style from. On Skillshare, it's a class called Hip Hop Videography by James Huang or Saki Boy. It's actually a really good class. It's a lot of in-depth thesis about the music video space, and it's been helping me a lot. Skillshare is an online community with thousands of classes on an array of different topics. Whether you're looking to up your filmmaking game or whatever skill you're doing right now, or learn something new, Skillshare is the place to do it. It's ad-free, the classes are really high quality, and they're constantly adding new classes weekly. I even have a class on Skillshare about prepping for your music video, so if you haven't checked that out, you definitely need to check that out. So down in the description is gonna be a link to take you over to Skillshare. The first 1,000 people to click that link will get 1 month for free on the Skillshare platform. So go try it out, it's no hassle. It's nothing that you have to commit to, but once you try it, I feel like this is something that you will keep because I feel like it's vital and it's nothing wrong with continuing to learn things. I think learning makes the process so much better. So make sure you guys go check out Skillshare. It's a link down in the description. The music video comes on, and within the first 30 seconds of the music video, I done seen every single scene in the music video. When you show too much of your music video too fast, it makes it hard as a viewer to wanna stay. It's like, okay, I've seen everything. When you come out the gate and you show every single location that you have and every single angle that you have and every single effect that you have in the first 20 to 30 seconds, it's nothing to look forward to. And a lot of songs are anywhere from what, 1.5 minutes to 3.5 minutes, up to 5 minutes. Come on, man, like nobody's staying that long. You have to consistently show the viewer something new and give them something to look forward to in the music video. One thing that I recommend is looking at the song for the music video into sections. So I try to switch up the scene every 30 to 40 seconds in a music video. So this could be me using this one location in the first 30 seconds and then using this location in the next 30 seconds, or this effect in this 30 seconds, or this location. It's just me switching it up into sections. And as a viewer, when you're looking through the entire music video, it's always something new to look at. So next time you have to shoot a music video, take this song, chop it up into sections, and then you'll know how many different locations or different things that you need to have happening in the music video to keep the viewer inspired and engaged to watch the entire thing. But that's it. Let me know down in the comment section which one of these things that you've consistently been doing in the past or something that you plan to just clean up in the future. For me, it's definitely continuity. This is one that I, to this day, still have to remind myself to stay on key with, because the littlest thing can throw that off. But that's it. Drop this video a like if you enjoyed it. If you're newer to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. But with that being said, I'm out, y'all. Peace.
He's got some instruction videos on Skillshare. I've been wanting to check out Skillshare for a long time now. Sure. And that's the exact kind of enticing content that I want to go there for.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's a great site.
Yeah, and he's great at explaining, you know, what you're dealing with there. The first point that he was talking about, like that things in the scene or not paying attention to the consistency, like, oh, she had her glasses on, now she doesn't. It's such a good point, and it's the kind of mistake, even when you're a pro, this happens in Hollywood all the time. Yep. You see products that are there on the shelf, and then the cut scene, and all of a sudden something's gone because they did different takes at different times, and it takes a very keen eye to pay attention to that and make sure that you don't have those anomalies in there.
And you know me, they all jump out at me. So like I see it and I'm like, oh, the sunglasses, or you know, well, the can's facing the wrong way, you know, or like all
when he was talking about that, it reminded me of you know, when I was doing Jason in Indianapolis last year, the editing on it, and I had scenes where the machete was stuck in the ground next to Jason, and reflections in cars shadows that aren't supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I must have spent at least 3 or 4 hours just finding the anomalies. And even after that much time, there's still a few things that I see now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, damn, I should have cropped that a little more and gotten that out of there.
Yep. And that's where, like, it's kind of like with writing, you need to proofread. With, you know, video work like that, you need to proof it also. You know, you need to watch it, and you need to have fresh eyes watch it to see things that you didn't necessarily see, because you might have watched the same thing 50 times while you were going through one section. So you're really hyper focused on that one section, where there could be something you're totally missing over there that just jumps out at everybody else, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think part of the challenge is you get so caught up in the moment and the work that you have to do to film it that you become blind to some of the obvious things. That's why it is good to have second, third eyes to say, hey, I saw it.
What about the hoodie? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I like his suggestion on as far as for music video production, like breaking things up into sections.
That was great.
Across the song. That's great advice.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Keeps it interesting, keeps you moving to the different locations, and also the one about not putting it all into that first 20, 30 seconds also.
That's a gold tip.
Mm-hmm.
Take that tip to heart, because it's true.
Mm-hmm. When they go to that solo, like that could be a whole different section completely, like, you know, a whole different unseen section from the, you know, before that you just blast off into this whole thing, you know, that kind of thing.
And that kind of rule, again, applies both to like a music video or to like a movie, and in some cases making a trailer for a movie.
Yeah.
And
not giving away everything. Yeah.
What I hate nowadays is like they are pretty much showing the whole damn movie in 2.5, 3 minutes, and it's like, okay, why am I gonna go watch this now?
And all the memorable one-liners are all in there for sure. Yeah, because they're trying to make them all viral. They're trying to pre-saturate everybody with, you know, and I get it, you know, it's part of the marketing, and that's why they do it. But like you said, it can work, but it can also work against them.
I still enjoy a little surprise, and you know, predictability is not a bad thing in some cases, but too predictable or flat out like this is what you're gonna see and get, that kind of dilutes the impact.
Yeah, you got to follow a formula that works, but not, you know, necessarily give everybody, you know, step by step by step, you know, the you know, movie production for dummies, you know, 1 through 10 step. You know, you don't want to go from step 9 to step 10. You know, throw some extra things in there, you know, change it around a little bit.
Yeah, what I was really impressed is when he said, you know, if you got this client who like wants to change their jacket mid scene, and you know,
you have to push back.
He's got the balls to say no. This
but explain why as well.
Not a good approach. And you know, you're gonna, especially if you're dealing with like musicians and their vision versus what can I shoot, you got to be able to draw lines.
Yeah. And even instead of coming at the, you know, if the artist comes to you and says they want to change the jacket right now and this and that, rather than just coming out with a no, it would be better, you know, coming at it with a, hey, we should keep the same consistent for now, explaining why, and then say, take that jacket, we'll put it in a different scene, in a different, you know, because again, we're going to be doing 3, 4, 5 different, you know, spots.
That's the beauty of his approach is like, if the jacket's not going to work here, then this is why we shift scenes to.
And it could be perfect for the scene over there.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome advice. I am definitely intrigued with his instruction videos on Skillshare. 30 days. I've been wanting to get on there for a couple of different lessons, and the video lessons are the ones I think I would gain the most from.
Yeah. And again, there's so many different topics that once you get in there, it's very easy to just, you know, jump right into a whole bunch of different things. So I would highly recommend it. Yeah.
You know me, I'm a sponge.
Exactly. Get in there and, you know, go down different rabbit holes and just check all that stuff out.
Yeah. Well, like he said, you know, don't be afraid to experiment and lean in.
Lean in. Yeah. Oh, that was what I forgot to mention.
Love how he explain that.
I had an art teacher when I was in 3rd grade, and she had a poster on the wall that basically said, make mistakes work for you. So it would be encouraging that if you do make a mistake, not, you don't crumble it up and throw the whole thing that you just spent an hour on away. You see what you did and, okay, let's make that work. Like he was saying, you can change the scene slightly to make, maybe you add a thing here or you add something there, or you do different cut scenes in between. There's ways to make that mistake, be involved. And leaning in is another good way to describe it, where, too much motion or rocking in it, add more, add the effect, add this, not too much, but, make it look intentional.
Yeah. Mistakes like that don't end up being mistakes. They're part of the creative process at that point.
Exactly. And if somebody said, what inspired you to use such, the earthquake effect there? And it's like, well, we had kind of crappy gimbal, going on.
I fucked up. Although we need his duck. I definitely want a duck every time I swear.
Yeah, we can make that work.
Yeah, got to get one of those.
Not that one. Different button.
I bet you Ange can make the duck sound for us.
Definitely.
So now we're going to take a look at an AI approach, because I didn't want to ignore, I think a lot of artists, this is going to be their choice. It's the path of least resistance, lowest cost. Granted, you don't have the same kind of flexibility. Like, you might not get the exact vision that's in your head out on the AI, but at the same time, like, the AI can be really creative in itself at what it throws at you. Yep. And if you're creative back with it, watching him put this together, it's very inspiring that, like, young minds can put together a really polished looking music video with just some good prompting.
Yeah. And again, like we were talking about previously, even if you were only to use this kind of technique and the AI for storyboarding or for getting your idea out sufficiently.
That's exactly where I would want to use it first.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to spend a lot of time storyboarding and scripting. And plus, if you're not artistically inclined or anything like that, your storyboard's going to look pretty bland. But if you're good at prompting and you can get something close to what you're looking for, this is one step closer to fruition.
Yeah, because you can even point to what came out and say, like this, but maybe not so much this and a little more of that. You can describe the changes to what you're showing somebody much more easily than just trying to describe the entire scene from scratch.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt to be thinking. The good thing about prompting is it really does make you start to think about what you're looking for. And if you're not getting the results, you really got to massage that prompt and get more specific.
Yeah. And again, a lot of times what you don't say, you're leaving it flexibility to fill in what it wants. And sometimes you'll find out with happy accidents where all of a sudden something works out better than you expected because it kind of knew where you were going and filled it in for you. Other times it comes up with something that's totally out of whack. And you're like, okay, I have to more specifically guide it away from doing something like that. Or even just more iterations where, this is the result I came up with, but you could run that same prompt 10 more times and it might be the 10th one that's perfect. And the 9 before it were all completely wrong. Yeah. It's all about, the results.
That AI gets me, but only some of the time.
Only some of the time.
Well, it definitely gets Tao. Tao prompts at Tao prompts. Nice. This kid's got a future in the prompting.
AI art guides. I like it.
Yeah, and when you see how he kind of blends it all together, in the case of putting together a music video, it's really creative. I'm not anti-AI, and to see it used creatively like this is what people need to see to understand the benefits of using an AI approach.
And using it as a tool, to magnify what you've done beforehand, even as opposed to just saying, oh, AI, make me some music and make me a music video. There's more to it than that.
Yeah. All right, Tao.
Tell us.
Show us how we can do it with just prompts.
You can create some absolutely stunning music videos using only AI tools. I think we can all agree that music makes life so much better. And one of the best ways to use AI is to create music videos. It's one of my most requested projects from clients, and by using simple AI tools, you can create some incredible visuals and effects that would otherwise be really difficult to make. I'll walk you through the entire process of creating AI music videos in just a single day. And here's a preview of what we'll learn to make.
I swore I'd never fall, but you pulled me down so fast. Now I'm lying in the wreckage of a love that couldn't last. I built my walls up high, thought they'd keep me safe inside. But love don't break like thunder, it just slowly unwinds.
So there's two parts of doing this. Part one is the music, and part two is the actual music video. If you already have a song you want to use, great, just use that. But if you don't have a song already prepared, that's fine. We can generate some really high quality music using AI completely for free. I use Suno to make the music for this tutorial. Even as a total beginner, you can get started creating AI music in just a few minutes. I'm on the homepage right now, and there's a bunch of example songs that are popular. I found this rock song I like though. Not really the type of music I usually listen to, but for whatever reason, I just really like the way this sounds. So to generate something similar, you can find this menu bar underneath, go to create and reuse a prompt. Inside here, you have the option of adding in your own lyrics. You can also have Suno automatically write the lyrics for you, but I figured I'd just enter them myself. I got them by going to ChatGPT and asking it to write me the lyrics to a sad rock song that talks about heartbreak. And after a couple iterations, I got these lyrics that look good to me. So let's copy these and paste them into Suno. Then beneath, you can add in the music genre. It has some suggestions for you. I just went with the one already here with a few extra keywords, mostly asking for a mix of rock and blues. Then we can create the songs just like that. You actually get 10 free songs a day when using Suno, which is pretty good for the amount of quality it produces. I made a bunch of these. Here's my favorite version. By the way, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want more in-depth AI video guides just like this one. Now we'll get to create the visuals for the actual video. I'll be using image to video, where I'll create the reference images first, and then animate those with an AI video generator. This method gives the best results. I used Midjourney to make the images. Here's the explore page. It's always worth looking through here to get inspiration for the visual style. I found this really nice looking image from the user Demon He, and I took some inspiration from their prompt to make my own images. I'll put the full prompt in the description. It's kind of too long to show in the video. Now let's create some more images to go along with this one. Go to the prompt bar up here and I'll put in photo of a female samurai wearing porcelain armor, playing an electric guitar in a garden, flaming musical notes float in the air. Then add --AR 16:9, which is a parameter that makes the landscape horizontal image. So a really important part of the visuals for the music video is that the style needs to stay consistent, from the colors, backgrounds, textures, stuff like that. To do that, we can take the original image in the flower garden and drag it into the prompt. Then hover it to select this paperclip icon. This will use the image as a style reference, which will keep the visual elements of the new generated images similar. Well, so we'll add in --SW45 to the prompt. What this does is control how much of the style gets transferred over. I find using a value between 20 to 50 works the best. There's our guitarist. You can clearly see the influence from the original style image. Then we can right click, go to upscale, and increase the resolution. Creative upscale just adds in some more textures and details, although it could change the faces a little bit. Here's a few more prompts I used to make the images. Be creative, use different environments. One of the things we'll do later is lip sync to the song, so I made sure that there are plenty of faces looking forward. So I've generated all the images. Now let's animate them into videos. I'm using Clean to animate the images. Let's go to AI videos, and we'll be using image to video and the frames feature right here. I'll upload one of the images I got from Midjourney. in the video clip, I want the camera to zoom out. So in the prompt I use camera pullback, muted colors. Don't overdo the prompt. Something short like this will work fine. Down in the settings, I usually turn up this relevance slider a little bit to follow the prompt better. And for these, I'll actually make them 10-second videos to see what we get. Let's generate them. I love how the musical notes float in the air, and there's some flames. This will work perfectly. Another useful prompt for music videos is rotating lens, which moves the camera around the subject in a circle. Now I also need to add lip sync to my song. So I got this video of her singing into a microphone, but I needed to actually match the song lyrics. Let's use this lip sync button down here. You can type in text to lip sync to, but since I've already got the audio clip for the song, we'll use upload local dubbing and then put our AI generated song inside here. Now when I use this, you can only add up to 60-second long audio files, so you might need to trim your audio first before uploading. Since my video is 5 seconds long, we need to crop the audio file to 5 seconds. I'll drag this around to the part I want to lip sync.
I swore I'd never fall.
Okay, and then let's do the lip sync.
I swore I'd never fall.
That looks perfect to me. So there's another really cool effect we can make using the AI, which are these types of really big transformations inside the video. I specifically wanted to make one of her breaking out of a porcelain vase. To make this effect, we need the first image frame and the last image frame, and then let the AI fill in what's in between. Back inside Midjourney, I've got this image of a woman inside a hot spring. I'll go to the editor tab, then use the eraser brush to paint over her silhouette, and change the prompt to a white porcelain vase Asian design. If we hit submit, Midjourney replaces the figure of the woman with the vase in the spring. Now, back inside the video generator, I've uploaded the image of the vase already. Let's hit this end frame button right here, and then upload the image of the woman as the last frame. Go inside the prompt and add the vase shatters and a woman comes out. When that's finished generating, it produces a complete transformation effect from the vase to the woman. The final step is creating the music video. I used CapCut to do the editing. You'll need to match up the lip sync videos we made it clean with the audio of the song. If you use CapCut, there's lots of effects we can add from this transitions tab. Just drag and drop it in between the individual video clips.
My walls up high, thought they keep me safe.
You can also add in lyrics if you want. Use the add text feature to drop them on here. There's tons of different fonts you can play with. And I also added in this fading effect, and so the lyrics slowly reveal themselves onto the screen. And here's what the completed AI music video looks like.
I swore I'd never fall, but you pulled me down so fast. Now I'm lying in the wreckage of a love that couldn't last. I built my walls up high, thought they keep me safe inside. But love don't break like thunder, it just slowly unwinds. Blur the lines of sight and the invisible. Blend the red of touch and the intangible.
I keep spinning around like a song on repeat. Every word you said still cuts too deep. Try to let go, but the echoes remain like a ghost
In my mind whispering your name.
There's tons of different prompts you can use to help you create the most cinematic looking AI videos. If you want to learn the best prompts that the pros use, go watch this tutorial right here.
Yeah.
Damn, Tao.
I mean, that has come a long way since the last time we looked at that, for sure.
Well, the lip syncing got my jaw dropped there. I mean, it wasn't flawless. There was a few scenes where you can tell it's animated lips, but the close-ups, like the important scenes where the lip syncing looked very natural.
Yeah. And one word in particular that I did notice was thunder in the one line, because she kind of, as she's saying the word thunder, she kind of trailed off. And in the lip sync, it kind of lost the word entirely. Like it tried to say something about thun and lost it. But to me, that's another thing where you could make not a makeup video, but basically you could just record yourself singing the word. But you're even just yourself singing the words. It doesn't have to be in tune even, but just clearly pronouncing each of the words and using that to guide the AI prompt. And then the AI should follow it more directly, and then you can still overlay.
Yeah, and wasn't it cool how he used that special prompting to get consistency between this picture to this picture?
And how much it follows the prompt, how much it adheres to the prompting. Yeah.
I wasn't aware of these like little secret. I mean, I'm sure at this point there's got to be like a whole dictionary of special prompts that you get to know, and you can really utilize this AI a lot more efficiently.
Even without studying something specific for it, if you just look at the examples, like he was looking at Midjourney, for example, just looking at all the examples that are there, when you find one in a style that you like and you're looking at the prompt, you'll see a lot of those things in there, whether it's talking about hyper realistic, or whether it's talking about a certain artist. For example, we did look at some of the Barbarian stuff back whenever, looking at a certain artist and saying, I wanted to be in that style, but you could make it something totally different. Like you could put Spider-Man in a caveman style or whatever. You can change all kinds of.
You should put Spider-Man in a caveman style.
See? Exactly. Carrying a club and spinning the webs.
Well, isn't it amazing? Like when we first started looking at this, Midjourney was just making images. And
barely, yeah. And with the crazy fingers
on. Yeah, the hands. Like I was watching in this one, because when you see like playing animations and things, and I didn't see any flaws.
No, and that's where, again, could be the wrong number of fingers, could be the wrong number of strings on an instrument. Like the one thing that I still have never seen is AI accurately doing piano keyboard, where it doesn't seem to recognize the patterning of
2 3 2.
It's like 3 2 3 2, and it should always be that way, and it just doesn't recognize that. It's going, oh, you got some notes here, you got some notes there, it's fine.
I've seen guitars with necks that wobble.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that doesn't work either. There's some laws of physics against that stuff. So,
well, unless we're making like a trippy Grateful Dead video, in which case,
well,
wobble that neck.
it can be wavy this way, but like the strings are going to be straight. So man, the neck's got to be straight for you to be able to fret them.
Oh, I have seen some great string videos where like that camera angle was like the neck going down,
clipped right on there.
Strings are all shaking and like slow motion.
Yeah.
That kind of effect is awesome.
Yeah. I always like that shot too. Like, and then they could also, bring the neck over here to look out at the crowd, and bring the neck back over here, looking at the band. Well, good spot for a GoPro.
If you need crazy videos like that, go to Tao. The boy knows what he's doing, man. Very impressed with how he implemented his creativity to utilize the creative side of the AI. He made the AI more creative.
Yeah, and that's the thing about prompting, is it really does come down to understanding that secret language of the minus SW this, and minus AR that. Like just knowing what each of those means and understanding why they're important, and being unafraid to play with them. Like he was saying, between 25 and 50% is usually good for these. That's because he's tried. And, he said it down there and above there.
Experimentation. If you're going to do it the AI approach, you really do want to experiment, because that's how you're going to find what it can do.
Exactly. Yep. And we do that with, all the stuff that we dive into. We are unafraid to, start hitting menus and moving sliders and hitting buttons and seeing what does what, because that's how you find out if that's, if that's something you want to move or not.
Just don't hit the big red button.
No. There's a reason for that. That's why it's under glass.
Only I can hit the big red button.
It's under glass for a reason.
Well, I think Tao's biggest strength is his understanding of the different AIs, the engines, and how to utilize this over here to produce this over here.
Right.
The AI is not going to be a one product does all kind of thing. It's all the different engines starting to work together there.
Yeah, it's like, what you want for your starting frame, what you want for your ending frame. The fact that he used a generative fill right there, where like he had her in the hot springs, he wanted the same hot springs but with a vase there. Fine.
Oh, and the morph looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Did an awesome job.
And all it is, you tell it start, finish, and it'll figure out the rest. And it figured it out. If you didn't like the way it did the morph, you tell it to do it again, and it'll probably come up with a slightly different way to do it. And that's the beauty of this, is that it's imperfect. And if you try a few iterations and it's going away from what you're looking for, you can just nudge it back the way you want it. Just change a little bit something in the prompt, like maybe not this or maybe more that. You're trying to figure out the language to effectively communicate what you're looking for.
Yeah. Doing effects like that in the old days for me would have took hours, and you wouldn't have had the luxury of experimenting all over the place, because if it takes a couple of hours just to do one experiment, you could take a week to experiment on everything. This really speeds up a lot of that.
And lip syncing? I'm sorry, that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were trying to manually edit a face for lip syncing, I mean, you want to talk about animation, final exam time. That would not be easy without AI. But just being able to hit a button and throw some words in, that's nice.
Seeing how good they've gotten with it in such a short time. I mean, I was playing around with a lip syncer about a year and a half ago. Was still not happy with the results. This is leaps and bounds better.
Yeah, a decade better, probably. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with AI, is everything, the advancements are going to be coming at that kind of speed. So the fact that it's come that far in just a couple of years, it's going to come that much further in the next couple of months even.
Now that you're seeing AI CPUs and things that are going to drastically speed up the process. Yeah.
And you can use smaller models to accomplish, very, very passable results.
We're going to have to go back to Tao and see where it's at then.
Yeah, definitely. We will revisit for sure.
Yes, I like the creative prompting approach. Awesome, freshy.
Very cool.
So now to conclude our music video making night, this one I wanted to add in there because he brings up the important consideration you should have when you make your video. You want one that's gonna stand the test of time, that's gonna be unforgettable. That's the kind of impact that a video has on an artist and a song, that they'll be listening to you 20 years from now if your video happens to be really good too.
Now the style of a video like Take On Me, like that for me is one that even decades later, like you watch that video and it's like, that is still,
And that's a good example, because if you can, or that the Signs, Bob Dylan kind of approach. If you can do something unique and interesting visually that makes people remember the song as much as the video, like Take On Me did, it was a game changer for future videos.
Do you remember the Grateful Dead video for Touch of Grey? Where at one point,
that was a concert video for the most part.
For the most part. And then at one part, they're skeletons that they have, like, skeletons that are all, marionettes that are playing the instruments. And I like just that aspect of it, I always thought was cool. Another one that always jumps out was Genesis, Land of Illusions. Land of Illusions, is that the name?
Yeah, with the puppets.
Yeah.
Groundbreak. I mean, it was like Jim Henson all of a sudden hit MTV.
Exactly. And just things like that. Like, sometimes there were those leaps, or, just things that people did that were really had not been done into that scale before, that all of a sudden were like, wow.
Thinking a couple more videos, another one from Genesis, Peter Gabriel had some really artistic, some of his videos were works of art. They stand out because they're as much artistic as they are musical.
Indeed.
Or David Lee Roth.
Sure.
Give me a glazed donut and a bottle of anything.
To go.
Well, and then he threw the eye candy in there. Don't forget,
Sure.
one of our videos suggested, hey, if it gets their hormones going, that's always a big plus too.
Indeed. Yep. And the was it a beaver or a chipmunk or whatever the animatronic thing was? Go twerk over there.
Can never have enough twerking in videos.
There you go.
So this one is coming from at Evo Video Essays. More of an educational channel. And the discussion on this one is how to make something unforgettable in a music video, which as a song, if you're a writer, if you're a painter, you want to make something like this to stand the test of time.
Exactly. And that's why, why did we mention the ones that we mentioned so far? What is it that stuck with us from each of those to make us mention them? That's the kind of thing that we need to see. That's what we want to recreate.
Yeah, what are the elements that make us not forget them?
Yep. Because there's plenty of videos that just fall into a pile of, oh yeah, just like other, just like 1,000 other videos, just like that one.
Well, and ironically, here he talks a lot about hip hop videos, which for me it never really did much. I mean, I can think of like back in the 80s, Beastie Boys or Run DMC loved their videos. Nothing super complicated for the most part. I mean, Beastie Boys was just a bunch of guys partying in an apartment.
What's that noise?
Fighting for their rights.
Exactly. The important rights.
But here he's gonna, kind of mention, like, in the hip hop world, so many videos, like they just like the songs, sometimes they start to look the same, they start to sound the same. There's
the same element.
There's nothing dynamic or unique about them. But he is gonna mention one that does take that kind of storytelling approach. It starts off not with the music, but with just a scene that throws you off.
There you go.
All right. Hopefully we're not going to forget this.
Right.
In the world of hip-hop, music videos often go one of three ways. They flex their money, they flex their women, or they flex both. And while these music videos do well for rappers pushing a materialistic and money-driven lifestyle, if you want to actually stand out as an artist, throwing some prop money at the club for a video probably won't cut it. If you want to create a lasting impression on the viewer, you have to connect with the audience and give them a reason to keep watching. Tyler, the Creator, is one of the greatest artists when it comes to doing just that. He creates music videos that are engaging and won't be forgotten 10 minutes after watching it. In this video, I'm going to go over 3 rules Tyler, the Creator, follows to make engaging and interesting music videos, including examples from 3 different music videos he has directed. After watching this video, you should be well equipped to creating better music videos that will not only engage your audience, but grow it. So, you have a video idea. Well, that's great, but the viewer doesn't care unless you can prove that within the first 20 to 30 seconds. Which leads us to our first rule of making a good music video. You need to create intrigue. You have to immediately show the viewer why they need to stay to watch the rest. This is especially important to a possible new fan who might have their first impression of you through your music video. It is very similar to making a regular YouTube video and having a hook. Tyler, the Creator, has done this very well throughout his career, but once you really set your name as a legend in the genre you're working in, your fans don't really need a reason to stay and watch. So we need to look at some of Tyler's earlier works for this. The oldest music video on his YouTube page might just be the perfect example. I'm of course talking about his 2017 hit featuring A$AP Rocky, Who Dat Boy. Now yes, I know Tyler already had a fan base, but by making these intriguing visuals, it helped him to grow a bigger fan base, while also continuing to strengthen his already existing one. How did this video create intrigue? Well, let's look at the first 30 seconds. It's all one shot. Tyler is obviously working on some sort of project, indicated by both his body language and the occasional sparks and light flashes. The tension is built here in 2 ways. 1, through the camera slowly pushing toward Tyler, and 2, through the music itself. It sort of starts with just some trumpet kind of sounds, then builds up with intense violin leading to the drop. And on the drop, whatever Tyler was working on blows both itself and part of his face up. Through just one shot, Tyler was able to build tension and create intrigue for the viewer to want to watch more. What is he working on? When's the song gonna kick in? Why does he have a poster from Leonardo DiCaprio's rendition of Romeo and Juliet? This leaves the viewer wanting more, most likely what they want being answers. Now, how do we give them these answers? Well, it's through the story you tell, which is rule 2. You need to tell a story. Tyler has always been a storyteller, both visually and and musically. One of the stronger stories is in his music video, See You Again, featuring Kali Uchis. The song seems to be telling a story of someone who has fallen in love with somebody else, but that someone is unattainable. However, the music video tells a more specific story. Tyler plays a sort of Navy member that is dreaming of this non-existent lover, which I believe is only non-existent in his circumstances out at sea. This is a very important part of your storytelling in your music video. The music needs to connect with your visuals. They need to work in harmony. I'm not talking about being like, oh, I got a new Lambo, I might just touch you, bro. Then showing that, because, well, first of all, nobody wants to see you touching some dude. But also because, bro, we already heard what you said on Spotify 2 weeks ago. I want to see something different. I want a new story with intriguing visuals that trigger emotions. This is what Tyler does so well through his visuals. His warm color palettes and Wes Anderson style composition match the energy of this song about love. You can trigger any sort of emotions you want, but try to match the emotions that are being conveyed in your song. A little honorable mention here is in the Sky music video, Sky being a rap song by Playboi Carti. They destroy a bunch of stuff in a grocery store. These visuals mixed with the rage energy of the song trigger similar emotions that might make you want to do something like trash an entire grocery store. We see this rebel rage behavior carry over into his fan base, specifically at Carti's shows, and that comes down to knowing what your audience wants to see based on the emotions they feel while listening to your music. So let's recap. Rule 1, intrigue, should trigger thoughts and have the viewer hooked. Rule 2, storytelling should trigger emotions and have the viewer connected. But what keeps them watching? Well, that brings us to Rule 3. But before we get to that, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. In a world of constant visual stimulation and social media posts, lazily done art for your music just won't cut it anymore. But I can't find any artists that want to work with me or my budget. Oh, okay. You haven't heard of evolvevisuals.com, the best website to order custom cover art, flyers, and track lists from a real artist for affordable prices. Okay, yes, this is my website, and it's not really a sponsor, but I mean, come on, there really isn't a better place to get your art done. For the lowest price at just $25, you can get all the custom art you need for your music. And you know what? Since you watch all the way to here, I can tell you care about succeeding as an artist. So use EVO15 at checkout for 15% off your order. Okay, back to the video. So you have the viewer engaged, but you want to keep them engaged throughout. Well, this is where Rule 3, progression, comes in. Progression is the process of developing or moving gradually towards a more advanced state. This helps build your story and make the whole video become more and more valuable to the viewer the longer they watch it. Tyler executes this flawlessly in his music video for one of his most popular songs, Earthquake. The progression starts really when Tracy Ellis Ross says,
"If you could during your performance do your best to not smoke any cigarettes or anything that smokes or lights fire, I would like that because that's dangerous and I am actually allergic to the smoke from fire. Thank you."
Okay, so yeah, he sings a song, he starts chiefing as soon as Carti's verse comes on, and guess what happens? Yeah, everything catches on fire. And this progression in the story is simple but extremely effective. There is allusion to the events through the warning Tracy gave. The events happen because Tyler starts smoking, and the events escalate or progress throughout the music video, eventually causing everything to burn down. The song, like I mentioned before, connects the same energy as the video, with the emotions of tragedy or loss as he says, "Don't leave, it's my fault," as everything burns down. Also, when he says, "When it all comes crashing down, I need you," he literally crashes down. Then at the very end, Tyler the creator becomes Tyler the firefighter. Oh my god. There's one more bonus tip that I would like to mention, which is just something helpful if you can pull it off, but something Tyler has been able to achieve through building his portfolio of music videos. And that is having a visual style. This kind of happens naturally with some artists, and some have very specific styles they try to copy throughout. This is especially common during album rollouts. I mean, if we look at every music video for Call Me If You Get Lost, Tyler's most recent album, they all have very similar colors, composition, and overall feel to the visuals that match the energy of the album as well. So there you have it. There are some great rules to follow to create engaging videos that will actually connect with your audience. If you take anything away from this video, definitely listen to that last tip about trying to have a consistent visual brand in your music videos, as that breeds familiarity, and familiarity can turn an average viewer into a diehard fan over time. Leave a comment on what artist visuals you want to see a video on next, and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Also, make sure to follow my Instagram because I update people a lot on there, and I might be selling some one-of-one art on my page before the feature hits the website.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hell yeah.
Keep evolving.
Check out evolvevisuals.com because it's an art resource.
Indeed. I like it. Good advice. Consistency about the style. That's important.
Yeah, well, that's been the theme pretty much the whole night. Consistency visually, singing, what your music is all about.
Matching the energy.
Yeah, the consistency on both sides and the synchronicity of the visual with the audio is what makes these great videos, along with some compelling intrigue, like what he mentioned here. Engaging your audience in that kind of way where they're wondering, like, what's up with that Leonardo poster and what the hell is he working on, and if it blows up in his face, what just happened. People are going to stick around for the 3 minutes if you bring them in that way.
Yep. And when he was talking about things matching as well, matching the energy and all that, there's also contrast where, like, when he was showing, like, violent scenes, people like craziness going on, that could be
tearing up the store.
That could be classical music playing during that, and it would be, it's ironic rather than being, rather than matching the energy. You can do contrast as well.
You'd be taking the Clockwork Orange kind of approach.
Exactly. That's where I was going with that. Yep.
Yeah, Kubrick knew how to, like, contrast a visual with the strangest audio.
Or maybe some Reservoir Dogs. Another.
Yeah.
A lot of spots.
If you can do those kinds of things in your music video, then that probably will stand out. That will be memorable.
Yep, something that is jarring or unexpected, let's say.
Plus, it doesn't hurt if you can get Tracy Ullman to, like, come in on, say, one of your videos in a almost comedic skit kind of way where she's like, "Don't smoke."
Little cameo, yeah.
And you purposely do it to piss her off.
And light it all up. Yep, progression, making the story progress through the song.
There's been a lot of celebrities who got their start in music videos.
Sure.
Alicia Silverstone.
I always think of
Aerosmith girl.
I always think of Friends, Bruce Springsteen video.
Oh, Courtney Cox.
Thank you.
In the Bruce Springsteen concert.
Yep.
Another live performance video, although I feel that Bruce shot that a couple of times.
Wouldn't surprise me, yeah.
Yeah, that looked like a whole, like, hey, we're going to have a concert today because we need to make a video. Oh, but you're going to hear the same song for the next 4 hours.
It could be. And they loved it. Hey, let the boss do what the boss wants to do, right?
Yeah, well, and filming those Jason has actually been he was in Wayne's World.
Yeah, I remember.
He got to go to one of the concerts in Wayne's World, and, that's the ultimate film set where you get thousands of people and a band and
excellent party time.
Film it Hollywood level.
Exactly.
Well, I do feel like I'm a little more prepared to get to that Hollywood level look. The equipment's accessible. I know the tools. It's all about just taking the right approach.
And if we go back some years, I remember when my niece and nephew had gotten a new Mac back, again, this is at least 10 years ago or whatever. And they there was a film, you could make film trailers. It was basically like a little film editing.
Final Cut was really coming into its own, yeah.
Probably what it was at that time, yeah. And I just remember hearing just giggling nonstop for like 3 hours where they were just making film trailers for spy movies and, and this and that. And just, they were getting so into it and having so much fun with it, just with very simple tools. And now with these tools, I mean, those little film projects, even with, with no knowledge going in, even, you could really make some impressive stuff just with a couple tweaks here and there and paying attention and knowing what to pull from other prompts that you see on some of those pages. Because like when he went to Midjourney, he just went to the main page and you're looking through for something with a style that you like. It doesn't even have to be the same content, same subject matter, but something that looks like the right visual style or composition, and see what the prompt is and see which elements you might want to, utilize or adjust.
Your own.
Exactly. And learn the language. Basically, you're learning how to speak to the, with the prompting language to tell it how much to slide that slider, how much are you going to stick to what I'm asking you to do versus what you see in the source image. Those are very important to getting what you're looking for, in your creative vision.
Yeah, and if you're doing this, say, for practice right now, because you do want to learn it, to practice a lot of these suggestions tonight, especially Tao's, you can generate good practice material that lets you experiment when you're not on a deadline, you're not trying to actually push too hard, you're just learning. Use those opportunities to just learn the software, learn the process.
Yeah. And when he was talking about, most of them, have 10 free images a day or whatever it is, most of them have some level of free usage.
Yeah,
so
yes. Suno, you get 10 songs per day unless you subscribe.
and like you were saying, it's a matter of if you're not working on a deadline, you can just, today, just, come up with a couple of songs and try them out, do your 10 and then do something else.
In some cases, if you do enough practicing that way, you build up a portfolio of material.
Right.
And when artists are out there saying, I'd really like to get somebody to make a video for me, like Tao has clients, clearly they are coming at him like, I want to make a music video.
Yep. And if you can help them with that, then all of a sudden you're building your portfolio as well as building their portfolio.
Yeah,
you're helping each other.
If you happen to also be a musician on top of a video junkie, then you can make your music, make your video, and even do the post.
Yeah. And AI can lip sync it for you and have, if you don't want to get yourself on camera, that's become much less of a stumbling block than it used to be. It used to be you had to have somebody to sing it and somebody to get on camera. So
it's looking better and it's getting more accepted. So, it's coming around.
Yeah. And again, even just for storyboarding, even just for getting your ideas down to say, hey, this is the kind of video that I want to shoot as a live thing. And, there's this camera angle and there's this camera angle. And you could really go through and make an AI video that really storyboards out exactly what you want to do. And then when you go to present it to someone, you're not just explaining your ideas and counting on their imagination to understand what you're saying. You're actually showing them something that is really concrete.
Yeah, and if you're not even comfortable with storyboarding or script writing, AI can help you there and get you a skeleton that gets you going. Exactly.
And again, it's the AI isn't replacing the creatives in the world. It is enhancing their capabilities, allowing them, it's like a force multiplier. It allows them to do, 10 times more work by automating a lot of the things that used to take a ton of time.
If you're using it, say, as a skeleton for a script because you don't know how to format a script, that's just like using a template. If I go load up a Word template for script writing, then it's going to have fill in a blank, enter room.
Yeah, scene 1, scene 2, like broken out in certain ways. Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to use it as a template maker, and you're gonna have to bring yourself into the creative process. You're gonna have to fill in some blanks. If you have the AI write everything, make the template, make all the granted, you get to practice, you get to play with the tools, but you don't get the creative expression that you would get if you fill in the blanks.
Right. Doing it like a Mad Libs.
Yeah, I don't mind AI as a template or a ground level creative process that fosters the creativity we have.
And even there, it's more of a negotiation or a conversation between you and the AI, as far as like you explain what you're looking for, the AI gives you something back. You don't have to necessarily just say, okay, well, it gave me this, so we're going to run with that. It's okay, I like this, I don't like that, I'm going to move this here. Use it as, suggestions and modify it to your taste. And then, you can go back and forth with separate iterations and understand how to better tweak your prompting to get better results from what you're looking for.
If you're really looking to become like today's director, which kind of was the theme with all of this tonight, today's director will know how to get a human to cooperate or a machine to cooperate to get their vision out. And the challenge of prompting is the same as communication to a lighting guy or the camera guy.
Yep. and all of them have their place. I mean, understanding each of those roles is important too. You know, understanding the importance of lighting, the importance of camera work, the importance of the multiple camera angles.
Respecting the importance of all those roles.
Right.
I've had situations where I'm trying to explain to a director the importance of having some lighting and lighting guys. And, oh no, we're going to film this one camera and these dark ass woods, or bring some extra people, bring some lights, because what good is it to get out there with half the equipment and not capture what you're trying to capture?
Yeah, and then trying to, we'll fix it in post. I mean, that's easy to say, but it doesn't always apply.
No, when it comes to bad lighting or bad sound, you have to reshoot because trying to fix those things in post, unless it's like not that bad of lighting. But you know the typical situations, uncontrolled light is, especially during the day.
Yeah.
That's sunlight, which can be awesome, not so fun to actually film.
Yeah, but again, even just having a couple people with something to be able to reflect some sunlight at somebody or to block some sunlight from getting to a camera can make a huge difference to all of that.
Yeah.
You know, you just one guy in a shielded camera and two guys to bounce light in from two different sides, and all of a sudden the whole thing can look a lot more professional than it would have otherwise.
See, and that goes back to the very beginning of planning and preparing ahead of time. And if you know you're going to be shooting in a weird situation where the lighting is going to be weird, or the room sound, and you know, with mics, knowing ahead of time which lights you might need to bring or which mics means you won't have to like shoot and reshoot and reshoot.
And sometimes we're surprised by it too. Like we could see a room ahead of time and say, okay, this place looks like it's about, you know, it's going to have pretty good sound because it's a pretty open space, but it has, you know, stuff on the walls. So it's going to absorb the sound and not reflect it too much. Looks like it'll be solid. Then you get there and there's something going on with the high ceiling, where the high ceiling is suddenly, you know, flat and reflecting everything straight back down, and it's a problem. But, you know, you wouldn't know that necessarily ahead of time. Then you go to another place that looks exactly the same, but their ceiling is peaked and has stuff all over it. So no sound is reflecting anywhere, and it's perfect. You know, it has a nice cozy sound. You know, you really can't tell until you get there and try it. Like a room will surprise you. You know, you get in the middle and you clap your hands, and is it just, does it disappear or does it rocket around the room? You know, it's a question.
And you've been considering filming some band practices and, you know, recording as you're working on this album, and you know the room you're dealing with. You've had to experiment with the sound dynamics in there to see what you're going to record. You want to be able to record the performances as much as, say, like the interaction between the band members. That is a fun little project we could make a night out of. And like, what do we need?
And even just going with the space that we're talking about, it's more of a narrow space front to back and wider side to side. So we do have a speaker in that corner and a speaker in that corner, and all of us are in the middle here. But we would basically have keys and drums on that side, or there's space for another thing on that side, and then guitar and bass on this side, with also congas can be wherever. And we can kind of get things lined up.
You've got the luxury of being able to get line signals at the same time that you can get video footage.
Exactly, because we are coming in through a snake to that 32 channel board, and we're able to just get everything all simultaneously. We could do a live recording as well as doing the video shoot. And the video shoot would just be like setting up two cameras, like one on this side, you know, kind of wide shot that way, and one that side filming this way.
You saw it tonight.
And you could have one the long way that's getting kind of everything for the making of, so you could see, you know, the whole process start to finish. And we'll see if we can get something like that going sometime.
Oh yeah, I'd like to be a fly on the wall on that.
And all it would be, you know, because again, everybody's got, you know, super good cameras in their pocket out now, so, you know, I can just, you know, put a camera on a stand up here, put a camera on a stand up there, and go from there.
Yeah. Homework.
Yeah.
So at Evolve Video
Visuals
Essays on YouTube. That was a good way to sum it all up. I think we are ready to make some music videos.
Definitely. Especially some story videos. Because that's the way to go.
I think I got this down.
Nice.
Yeah, I felt like I just did a dance move there.
But you didn't hurt your neck. That's the important. Got to stretch first. So what do we have happening tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Chaos Magic's back, some poetry, so that's going to be a nice full night there.
Nice. And of course, we'll be back next week because it'll be another Thursday.
Yeah, and in the next couple of weeks, wrestling is coming to Angified. So I think...
Are you ready?
Yeah, I think by the end of the month, we're going to start to get some of our first wrestling footage.
Nice. We'll get that going. I see you got your cat. Look out, he's going to get you.
Oh, yeah.
Guest appearance.
She's going to take the chair, so I'm going to have to give it to her. I will bid you all adieu.
Catch you guys next time. Now I'm talking shh. IT. Good night.
Night, everyone.
We cover digital audio workstations and music tools. We explore theory, gear, and MIDI too. How to arrange, compose, and the art of arranging. Taking a look at AI and how the times have changed. On a PC or a Mac and even with a mobile device, we'll be talking about it all every Thursday night. From software to plugins and synths that entice. Dive deep into tech and let creativity take flight. Talkin IT. We're talking IT. Come and join in and have some fun. It's highly educational with a lot to learn. From bedroom producers to seasoned pros, we're breaking it down so knowledge grows. Whether you're a DJ or a beat making wizard, we got the tips and tricks to make your sound sizzle. Mixing and mastering, that's our jam. With the tutorials and tips on how much RAM. Get the best quality from your setup and gear. Tune in every week and lend us your ear. We're talking IT. Come and join in and have some fun. It's highly educational with a lot to learn. We're talking